Basically, it just means that you get to know a little bit more about who you are, because when you push through an obstacle, or when you have a problem that comes your way and you end up being able to push through it, you face it head on, you get to know a little bit more about yourself. It's not that something went wrong. You're hoping that something went right. So, going into, I'm going to read a little quote by a person that they experienced something very tragic, and they wrote in a book called In Beauty Beyond the Ashes by Cheryl. It says, as unfair, unreasonable, and as impossible as it seems, we still have work to do after a tragedy occurs. We still have roles to fill. We still have responsibilities to families and others. The stuff of life may pause for a while, but doesn't stop fair or not, and that is reality. And with her saying this, she's just basically quoting that regardless of the outcome of what happens in her life, no matter how bad it is, even when she lost her husband in a 9/11 crash, she still had to pull herself up and stay strong for her family. Because if she doesn't stay strong for her kids, who's going to stay strong for them? There's no one else to stay strong for her kids. She's the one. She's the mother. She's the only one left for them. So if she didn't stay strong for them, how is she going to move forward? And she says it's not fair, but it didn't matter. She had to push forward through it. So I'm gonna go ahead and go to point 2: truths about bad experiences. Okay, everyone has them. Everyone has bad experiences. A quote that John Maxwell says, he says, he's never known someone who has said, I love problems. But he says, but I've known many who have admitted that their greatest gains come in the middle of pain. And that is a very true statement. A lot of times, it takes going through a hard obstacle, something hard going on in your life, to really come to an understanding more of how to solve something like that when it comes next time, or when the problem ends up occurring again, whatever it may be. Life is filled with ups and downs, and the problem is all we want is ups and ups, which isn't something we should always look for. We have to realize that there are obstacles that come in life, and there are going to be downs, but that's when in the face of an obstacle, you push forward and it brings you up. Not always you're going to have ups and ups and ups and ups. You can want it, you can try to achieve it, but if that's how you think everything is always going to be, you're not going to get ups and ups. You're going to keep getting downs and downs because you'll keep getting disappointed with yourself because you're not getting what you're expecting all the time. Bad experiences are not unique to anyone. And if we expect a fair shake or a fair life, be ready for a big disappointment. Because sadly, we're in a world that just, people don't care sometimes, and you aren't going to be treated fairly. It doesn't matter. You're going to be disappointed in some things that people do, or even what you did sometimes. So you have to make sure that don't always expect something to just have a fair shake into things. You got to be ready for the possibility that whatever is going on could be another obstacle that is in the way. He says that don't be like, he said sometimes we have our pigeon days and our statue days. Basically what that means is, the pigeon comes in and he poops on the statue, So like people are always pooping on you, making you feel bad. Even though you could be having a great day, you're not doing anything wrong. You're like, man, I started off the day great. I grabbed my Bible. I read my Bible this morning. I prayed, whatever. I grabbed whatever books I was doing. I got my work done and everything. But people are still just really downing me for whatever reason. But then you have the days that you're just statue and you're standing still and you're kind of like, okay. And with some days you are the pigeon and you are the person pooping on people. You're the person making other people feel bad. So you have your pigeon days and statue days. Some days you're getting pooped on. Some days you're the one pooping on people. You may not think you're pooping on somebody, but you are. You're making someone else feel bad about their day for whatever reason. Dennis Holy quotes, expecting the world to treat you fairly just because you're a good person is a little like expecting the bull not to charge you just because you're a vegetarian. It makes no sense. If you are in a bullpen and you are going to expect the bull not to charge you just because you're a certain way, like, oh no, I'm not a bad person, so the bull's not going to charge me. No, that bull's goal is to hit you, and he wants to hit you hard. No matter what you're doing when you're in that bullpen, he wants to rail you so that you get down on the floor and he can hurt you. Because that's the point of the bull. The bull is there to charge at you. So no matter what, don't expect things to be fair. You can't always expect things to be 100% fair. So you have to make sure that you push through it. So, name one painful experience that you learned a valuable lesson from. Well, when I was around 12 years old, I was riding my bike, and this is an experience, I'm just going to say just an example, but I was riding my bike going down the hill, and I was joking around with some kid that me and my friends didn't like. We all thought he was annoying, but he was wanting to bike with us, and I was like, I don't care. Like, I was ignoring the kid, and I was being rude, you know? So, like, we were like, hey, let's run away from him. So I go flying down this hill, and next second I know, there's a car coming from the side of the hill, and he's coming up this hill when I'm coming down this hill, and I wasn't paying attention, and thank God I believe in God, and that I trust God at the time, too, and even now. But like I heard his voice tell me turn, and it freaked me out. So when I turned, this car comes and clips me, and I end up bashing my back on this guy's window and hitting his car and scraping up my elbow and cutting myself and scarring my face, and a ton of other stuff happened to me. Like I really got injured. Out of that experience, when I got up and I started crying. I was hurt. This guy literally got out of his car, looked at me, and drove away like he never hit me. And I was like, are you kidding me? So after I got hit by him, I got up and I was walking up the hill, and everyone's like, oh my God, Daniel, you okay? And I looked at them and I'm like, do I look okay to you guys? Like, I'm literally bleeding out of my arm, my face, like everything hurts. Do I look okay? But I get up there, and when I get to my mom's sitting there, and she's like, oh my gosh, what happened? I was like, well, I got clipped by a car. And she's like, doing what? And I was like, I was kind of ignoring a kid and being really rude, and I kind of rode away, and probably wasn't the best idea to act cool in the moment. She's like, oh, I see. I'm like, yeah. But then she prays for me, and everything literally healed up in an instant, and it was awesome. It was the coolest experience I've ever seen. But out of that experience, I learned that when you ignore people, when you're rude to someone, and you're trying to be the cooler person in the room, by trying to make yourself seem like the alpha person because you don't like that guy, and a lot of people don't, your only thing you're doing is standing out as the jerk. You're standing out as someone that doesn't care, and you're not there to help, to make them grow also. You're just being a jerk in general. No one likes having bad experiences. No one likes them. Few make bad experiences positive experiences. But we can choose how to respond to every experience. No one likes having a bad experience, but if you can't make a positive experience after going through something that was a tough time or a struggle, then I don't know what you're doing. Because you have the choice to respond in a positive way. And if you choose not to respond in a positive way to a bad experience, it's only going to make it worse. You're not going to grow as a person in any way whatsoever. So, Warren G. Lester says, succession in life comes not from holding a good hand, but in playing a poor hand well. What does that mean? How does that equip you? What does it do? Well, what he's saying is when things in life come not from holding a good hand. It doesn't mean that you can't have something that is successful in your life by having a good hand. It doesn't mean you can still make something good out of it. But he's saying real success comes when you get the poor hand, when the problem does come, and when you face through the adversity, You learn more from the experience of learning through the adversity than you would not learning from it at all. The pain file. A, the pain of inexperience. I've never been through that. Never been through it. Because you have no experience with the thing you're going through, you make the excuse of I've never been through it. Deal with it. Face it. Don't complain just because you've never had that problem. Face it head on and deal with it. The pain of incompetence. I should have seen that coming. No shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? That's what people say. When you say I shoulda, woulda, coulda, you're only making yourself regret something. So don't say, oh, I should have seen that coming. Instead say, I will make a better decision next time. Next time I will push on instead of making excuses. The pain of disappointment. I wish it had never happened. You wish this, you wish that. So what? It happened. Deal with it. Like we said, life is not fair. This is just the kind of world we live in. Don't cry about it. Don't be a baby. Seriously. If you wish it hadn't happened, then why were you in that situation in the first place? Why are you in that environment? Get out of the environment. Get out of that situation. Push on. The pain of conflict. Human encounter doesn't always feel good. That's true. There aren't always people that you're going to see or hang around with that are going to be really an uplifting person, or they're going to be uplifting to you in any way. They're not helping you to grow. So every human encounter that you have, even if it doesn't feel good, it's okay. Move on. Don't let it affect you that much just because you have a bad experience with one person or several people in general. The pain of change. I didn't want that to happen. Okay, well, if you didn't want it to happen, like once again, why were you there? What were you doing? The pain of bad health. I lost what I thought I would always have. Okay, you lost what you thought what you always have. Well, what did you think you had? If you actually don't have it in the first place, well, why don't you try to push through and gain the thing that you thought you had so that you can learn from it? The pain of hard decisions. You can't make everyone happy. You can't make everyone happy. Then that is true. Not everyone is going to be appreciative of what you do, even if you're a great person, even if you're nice, even if you care, even if you go out of your way. And I've had that happen to me recently. I've had a friend that I spent a lot of time with, but because of their friend group, they think that I'm involved in their life too much, so they decide that, hey, I probably shouldn't have you in my life anymore. And I was like, for real? I was like, I have helped you get rides home. I've helped you with this, helped you with that. I've spent time with you when you were like really down with things, when you're having a hard time. I've given you advice to help you get through things. I've answered phone calls to help you get through things. And now all of a sudden, because of your friend group, you don't think I'm a good friend. That makes no sense to me. But I can't make everyone happy, and I can't make them happy, clearly. But I'm not going to let it bother me. I'm going to move on. I'm totally fine with that. I unfollowed them on everything, blocked them on stuff, got rid of their number. I got rid of them immediately. Because I'm not going to have someone in my life that's going to be toxic, and I'm not going to have someone in my life that's going to affect me so much that I'll be disappointed in myself of who I am. The pain of financial loss. If I could only get that back. You lost it. It's over. Get over it. You lost that money. That was your mistake. Move on. Find a better way to make money that you lost instead of complaining about it. Amen. The pain of relationship losses. Some people will grow in a different direction than I, and that is true. Some people will grow. As time goes on, you'll see, like I said, when we talked about the lab environment, when you have your friends around you, you find out who your friend group is. Is a statement that's very similar to that, because people will grow different, and you'll find out who your real friend groups are, or who the relationships you build with really work or not. And I've found that out the hard way too. I've lost plenty of friends growing up, and I guarantee everyone else here has too. When you grow in whatever you're trying to do, whatever you're trying to do with your life, or even in God, some people just aren't going in the same direction as you are. So unless you find the people around you that stay encouraging, stay consistent, you won't have to worry about losing those friendships. But there are going to be relationships that you will lose. Oh yeah, including family. The pain of not being number one. I deserve to be there. That's just a jealous quote. You deserve to be there. Just because someone else is above you, you can strive for what they have. That's a good goal. But don't say I deserve to be there. That's my position. Okay, well, even if you deserve to be there, what are you doing to get there? Instead of complaining about it and making excuses, what are you doing to grow to get to that point?
Come on.
The pain of traveling. When I am away, I feel, so what? You're away, you're traveling, you're doing something. Regardless of what you're doing, no matter where you're at, no matter where you're traveling, whatever your main goal is to get done, whatever you're trying to do, get it done. Don't make excuses. Even if you're away, it doesn't matter. Still strive for the things you want to do. Still strive to be growing. The pain of responsibility. They expect so much from me. Okay, and do what you can to keep studying, grow yourself, become better. Don't make excuses. If people expect much from you, live up to that. Live to the expectation instead of dropping yourself. If you down yourself and people expect more from you when you're drowning yourself in whatever's going on, and instead of focusing on growing, they'll notice and they'll be disappointed in you. And then guess what? Look who's going home sad now because other people are disappointed in you because you took it too hard, because you cared too much about what they had to say, instead of growing yourself and realizing that the expectation that others have for you, you could easily meet it. But because you're making excuses, you're not meeting it. Wanting everyone to be happy and making tough decisions were incompatible tasks. John Maxwell says. He said he learned that good leadership is disappointing people at a rate that they can stand. No matter what happens, you're going to disappoint people. No matter how you grow, you're going to disappoint people. Not everyone's always going to be happy with what you do. Don't worry about it. Even if you disappoint them a little bit, they see that you're growing and they keep learning from you and who you're becoming. So instead of complaining about the situation, realize that you're not going to make everyone happy, so stop crying about it. It's life. It's not going to be fair to you. But that's the main reason for this law of pain, to come to the realization that disappointment is going to come regardless because of how the world is. But you can push through it as long as you motivate yourself to push through it. And if you keep making excuses, you won't push through the wall that is in your way. Whatever obstacle is there, you're not going to push through it if you make excuses. So, pain into gain. How to turn your pain into gain. It's your life, you choose. Frank Hughes says, experience isn't really the best teacher, but it sure does serve as the best excuse for trying to do the same silly thing over and over and over, and you keep doing it again and again. What does it sound like? Excuses, right? You're making excuses again. Because the experience you're solving, the experiences you have with going through a tough time, instead of making a difference, instead of pushing through the obstacle, you keep saying, but it just keeps happening though. That's just an excuse, right? Oh, it keeps happening. Yeah, and? You gotta be able to push through. You have to be able to face it. You can't let the same thing happen over and over again. If it keeps happening, then clearly you're not growing as a person. You're just creating an excuse. You are becoming an excuse. And that's how you're building your lifestyle. When you keep complaining and making excuses when you're growing or trying to grow, that's becoming a lifestyle. You don't want to make that a lifestyle. Choose a positive life stance. What are your life assumptions, presumptions about life, people, and experiences? How do you deal with them? What do you do? Do you start with an expectation that people are good or that experiences can be dealt with? With a positive life stance, good will become better and bad will not be as bad. Bad things won't be as bad. When you have a positive stance in life, when you are positive about having a bad, even when you're going through a bad experience. Because like I said, there's no one that's going to say, oh, dude, I was sick today. It was awesome. Who's going to be happy about being sick? No one's going to be happy about being sick. You're not going to be home laying in your bed going, oh, yeah, dude, being sick is great. Unless you're like a kid. I get it. When I was a kid and being sick was the best thing because I skipped school. I thought it was awesome. I was like, dude, I'm not at school. Hallelujah. Amen. I'm at home, chilling in bed. Heck yeah. But when you're an adult, that's a problem, isn't it, right? At that point, it's a huge problem. If you're sick and you miss work once, twice, 3, 4 times, what do you start getting? Complaints, right? Why aren't you at work? How come you're missing so many days? Well, I was sick. Okay, and? What? You're losing money, right? That's a problem at that point. No one's going to be happy about being sick. No one's going to be happy about their problem. But if you take a positive stance in life, saying, okay, look, I was sick today. This was not a good thing, but I'll be okay. God's got me. I got this. I can push through it. And I'll be at work the next day, right? You want to push through. Don't make excuses. Don't just have a positive stance. When you have a positive stance in life, you'll make a difference for yourself and in others too. Because when they see that you have a positive stance in life, and they see that you're positive, you're outgoing, you're trying to make a difference, that light that you're shining through you shines to others, and it shows an example. While life is not always the way we hope it will be, it is always the way it turns out. So how will you view the final result when things come down to it? What are you going to do when it comes down to realizing that the experiences you've had can help you solve the problem that's in your way? Because you have dealt with that experience already. So you know, right? You had that experience, you dealt with it, and you're saying, okay, I know what to do next time. You get sick, you say, okay, I know what to do. I'm going to pray, right? I've learned from my dad growing up for the longest time that when I got sick, he used to pray for a cup of water for me and give it to me. Well, I don't go to my dad when I'm sick. I grab that cup of water myself, I pray over that water myself, and I drink that water. And then I'm fine. Because out of my experience of realizing that praying for that worked for me, I'm going to do it myself so that someone else doesn't have to do it for me. Because I believe that through that experience, I can do it. Amen. That I can do it. I can do it. I don't need someone else to pray over that water for me. Because God lives and flows through me. So if God lives and flows through me, you can pray for that water yourself and you can get healed too. A positive life stance will find positive lessons in every experience. And that is true. When you have a positive life stance, everything becomes a good experience. No matter how bad it is, no matter what struggle you go through, even if you're crying, you lose someone, pain is it is hurting you, it is punching you in the face. When you realize to that point, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to push through. I got this. It's okay. You took a positive life stance and you made a choice to make sure that you can move on. Because when you make the choice to move on, you grow. When you don't make the choice to move on, you don't grow. It's as simple as that. You don't. You're going to be stuck. You're going to be stuck. Virginia Satir says, life is not the way it's supposed to be, it's the way it is. The way you cope with it is what makes the difference. It's the way you cope with things makes a difference in your life. The way you deal with it makes the difference. Because like I said, like we've been saying, life, when it happens, things happen. But how you deal with it is what makes a difference for you. John has a mindset that he mentions in the book, if you read, and he says, life is filled with good and bad. Some of the good and bad I can't control, and that's life. Some of the good and bad will find you. It's going to happen. Good and bad will find you. If I have a positive life stance, the good and bad will become better. If I have a negative life stance, the good and bad will become worse. So therefore, he chose a life stance. He chose a positive life stance. And that's how John's mindset works. He chose to be positive. And because he chooses to be positive, he pushes on, and look where he's at. He's successful in what he does. He makes millions. And people look to him as a mentor, as a teacher, as even a father figure. Because he chose a positive life stance. And if you do the same, it will make a difference for you. And this is truth. Poet John Greenleaf Whittier says, "No longer move forward nor behind. I look in hope or fear. But, grateful, take the good I find, the best of now and here." If you can look forward nor behind when you're relying on certain things, you'll be able to move on. You'll be able to push through. Because if you can be grateful for what you have and be positive for where you are, you'll be able to be better, to be positive, to grow yourself. Because that's the whole point. If you're not positive, you're not going to be happy with what you got, right? You're not going to be able to realize what you have, what is driving you, and you're not going to be able to realize who you are because you're sad, depressed, lonely, whatever you're doing. I don't know. Whatever emotion you're feeling that is going to hinder you, because you're letting it hindering you, it's not going to help you to grow. Embrace and develop creativity. Neil Walsh says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So how does this help with creativity? Well, when is the moment when you felt like you've most thought about something, right? The moment, when you're in a moment of uncomfortability, your brain is thinking faster. Your brain is starting to think, okay, whoa. This is out of my league. This is crazy. This is scary. You know what I mean? But because in the moment you realize you're out of your comfort zone, when you realize the comfort zone you're in is not great, you're uncomfortable where you're at, your brain tends to think more of what's going on. So because you're thinking more, your creative mindset builds up, right? Yep. Like when I went scuba diving with Calvin in Belize several years ago, I'm freaking out. I'm 100% freaking out. I'm like, dude, I've never gone scuba diving. I'm worried. What if I go up too fast? What if I get that weird thing, whatever it's called? I don't remember what it's called, to be honest. But like if you go up too fast, it bends. And it builds up. It can kill you, right? If you come up too fast, because the air pocket, it depletes your air. And I don't really know the science behind it, but I know it can kill you, okay? But I got told this before I went on, and I was like, oh my God, dude, I was like, I could die from scuba diving? I don't know about this. But in that moment though, my brain's thinking very fast. And I'm in a point of uncomfortability. I'm not comfortable. But I hopped off that boat, I went in the water, and when I went in that water, I had the most blissful experience I've ever had in my life. And it was beautiful. And when I was in that water, and I was diving, and I was swimming around deep in the ocean, my mind started thinking, dude, how amazing is this? How awesome is God for doing this, for me to be able to experience this? I got to see all these fish, how blue the water was, how nice it was to be swimming down there. I could see some cool crabs. It was awesome. It was just really cool. But my creative mindset, like I said, my creative mindset was more active because I was in a point of uncomfortability. And because I was uncomfortable, I was able to enjoy my experience even more. When you're presented with a bad experience, that one at first was a bad experience because I was freaking out, often creativity will show you the way through it. So no matter how bad the experience may seem, something creative will come out of it because you'll be learning from it when you have a positive life stance. Embrace the values of bad experiences. Inventor Charles F. Kettering says, you will never stub your toe standing still. But the faster you go, the more chance there is of stubbing your toe. But the more chance you have of getting somewhere. So, even if you're running and you stub your toe, you got to the kitchen, right? That seems to be the place where a lot of people stub their toes, trying to get to their kitchen. They're trying to walk to their kitchen real fast to grab their drink of water, whatever they're doing, and go, bam! Oh God, my toe! And everyone just kind of laughs when they see you happen, you know what I mean, right? Like, someone sees you stub your toe and you're on your way to the kitchen, they all just kind of laugh at you, and you're like, oh, okay, it's not that big a deal. Because it's not. You stubbed your toe. Oh, well, what'd you do? Kept walking to get your glass of water, right? It didn't really matter to you. It's the same thing. If I'm standing here and I'm not doing anything, I didn't want to teach or I didn't want to do anything, how am I gonna stub my toe to move forward? How am I gonna move past my uncomfortability to do something? Well, I'm not if I don't do anything, right? But because I took the stance to take a chance to learn this and to be able to prove to myself that I can do this, I've stubbed my toe on the way. I've made some fumbles, mistakes when I tried saying stuff, but it hasn't mattered to me because I'm still doing it, because I'm getting somewhere. I'm learning. I'm learning from teaching. I'm learning from this experience myself. So, facing difficulties is inevitable. Learning is optional. John Maxwell says, in this life, there are winners and there are learners. What it means is, you can be a winner, but did you learn? What did you learn from that experience? Did you actually learn anything? Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. But if you are winning and you learn from the experience of winning, you learn further how to not win. You know what I mean? You strive to be better because you have found out what is working, because you have learned and you reiterated the experience of what worked and decided, let's do that again. Because it worked, you did it again. And when you did it again, it worked. And it worked and worked. Because there are plenty of things that you find out and you learn that work, right? I found out how to write in school. How to write, learn, read. Well, because I learned how to read and write, that experience may have been tough at first, but because I am winning at the experience of learning, I know this is like really simple, but it has a simple meaning to it. When you learned how to write and you learned how to read, what experience has that done for you, right? Well, first off, thank God I can read this. If I couldn't read this, how am I going to learn from it? Just hearing someone else talk about it, it's okay. I'll get it in a little bit. Just hearing someone else talk about it is good, but being able to read it yourself is better. So because I learned simple skills, I'm winning in my life because I know how to do it. Because there are a lot of people, millions even, who have a hard time reading even in adulthood, which is really sad. Because whatever happened in their life that didn't help them to learn how to read, such a simple skill, has really not helped them to move on. Or how to get a good job sometimes even, because they just can't read at some jobs that may require them to read stuff to people. So they struggle. Well, thank God I learned how to read, because I don't want to ever struggle when it comes to reading something. That would be awful. But I'm glad for the small, little things that I've experienced that do help me to move forward. We will all face difficulties, but we will not all learn from them, and that is true. There are tons of difficulties that we will face, and not all the time will you learn, but when you take a positive life stance, you'll learn more. There might be lots of things that you will not learn, you won't be able to figure it out, but it's okay. Because remember, there are some things that you will go through that you do learn, and whatever you do learn, take that experience and try to use it to learn the next problem, because then you'll be able to build forward. Make good changes after learning from bad experiences. James Baldwin quotes, "Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it's faced." I'll say it again. Not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. This is especially true if bad experience is the result of our bad judgment. Learn. You want to learn. Make sure you are learning. If you're not learning from any of the experiences you're going through, what are you doing? Clearly, you're letting it go by and you're not taking the time to really think about what happened or how to learn from it. If you're just letting it go by, you want to make sure that no matter what the experience, you learn. And even if it's a bad judgment, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Try to learn from the bad judgment call you made. As fire hardens steel into a usable tool, so too can pain shape us into amazing people for the future. Because that is 100% facts. No matter what's going on, like I said, like we've been saying, no matter what experience you go through, no matter how painful, if you learn from the experience, what's it do? It builds you up, right? It burns in your heart, it burns in your mind, the experience that you've learned, because you realize, okay, I put the nail in the wrong spot this time. Okay, next time, it won't fall apart because I'll put the nail in the right spot. Oh, wait, that spot was wrong again? Oh, gosh, okay. I'm going to fix it again. But that's true. It's like no matter how bad, no matter how many times you make a mistake, if you keep readjusting to find the spot till it's perfect, it works. Yeah, put a screw there. Oh, gosh. Yeah. Oh, jeez. Feelings such as resentment can make a bad experience even worse. It can make it even worse. When you resent things, it makes things worse. Because you're not moving on, right? You resent what you've done, or you resent what someone else did. You get mad, someone else made a mistake helping you out with something, and you're like, are you serious? Why'd you do that? Come on, man. Like, that was a horrible decision. What are you doing? You are hurting that person's self-esteem. You are hurting them, and at the same time, you are not building you. You're making your own personal self worse by resenting what they did. Instead of saying, that was horrible, I don't know why you did that, you should say, okay, let's try to learn from that next time. Don't do that again, please. Let's try to fix it, and let's move on. When you complain at stuff that you're doing, or you resent things that you've done that are mistakes, or you resent what other people have done, it's not going to help you. It's not going to help them. It's not going to help anyone. All it's going to do is make things worse for you, make things worse for that person too. Because all they're going to feel like, especially if you're resenting toward them and you're being very rude about stuff and you're not trying to help, you're only making them feel worse about themselves. And then what's that going to make them do? Not want to do their job, right? Not make them want to do what they're supposed to be doing with you. They're not going to want to help you after that, because all they're going to think is, well, this person doesn't care because all they do is get mad at me for what I do, even if it's a small mistake. Who cares? Move on. Help that person to learn what the mistake was and to grow from that. And if you're the one who makes the mistake, help yourself to learn from it instead. Stop making excuses. A bend in the road is not the end of the road unless you fail to make the turn. So, don't fail to make the turn. Quit being ridiculous. The moment you turned off the wrong path, you should have realized, oh, yeah, okay, I think that's what was supposed to be working, and I didn't do that. Well, why did you decide to do this then if obviously that works? If the one road works, choose to make the right turn on that road. Don't just veer off just because you want to try something new that definitely wouldn't work, especially if you're not sure. You want to make sure that whatever experience has worked, you take what works. And if someone else can show you something that's new to help you learn more, learn from it instead of trying to do something completely different. Take responsibility for your life. Are you a victim or a victor? Basically what that means is a victim, to avoid the label of victim, take the responsibility for moving forward. You don't want to be the complainer, is how I'm putting it. He says victim, but I'm going to say complainer. You don't want to be the complainer. When you're the complainer, yes, you become the victim, right? Because all you're doing is making excuses. And when you make excuses for yourself, others see you as someone that probably isn't going to do much. Doesn't seem like you're going to do much with your life or whatever's going on, because you play the role of, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to do it. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to do this. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know how to do this. That's the same thing 3 times you messed up on. What do you mean you don't know how to do it? You messed up on the same thing 3 times. If you don't learn from the bad experience the first time, the second time, or the third, you clearly are choosing not to learn. You are making yourself, you've put yourself in a victim mindset. You're not a victor, you are a victim. Because you have put yourself in a mindset of, oh, I didn't know what to do. Yeah, so what? Learn. Figure it out. Why are you complaining about it? It is only one short step from why me to woe is me. Right? You say, oh, why was it me? No. How is it you? Woe is me. How can I make a change? How can I learn? It is nearly impossible to grow when you don't make any significant way to take responsibility. If you take no way to take responsibility, you're going to be in the victim mindset. You're going to be in the why me mindset. How come I didn't do it right? Why was it this problem? How was it this problem? No. Instead, become the victor and say, woe is me. How can I move on? I can make a difference. What can I learn from this? What can I do?
That's right.
It seems very hard, maybe even cruel or callous. But no matter what happens, our attitude toward a negative experience, positive and hopeful, or negative and defeated, will put us on a chosen path. So depending on how you choose to think about something, depending on how you choose to take a stance in your life, negative or positive, will make a path for you, regardless of what you do. It does not matter. You could have been on the same path for the longest time, doing amazing things, doing great things, but because of the experiences you've learned, you decide to take those experiences and drive them in a different direction and realize and think, okay, well, maybe this will work instead. No. What has worked for you? What has helped you to grow? Stick with it. Choose the positive life stance that you have with the thing that you are best at so that you keep growing in it. Because if you veer off from the things that you're good at, if you veer off from the chance of being positive in those things, you are only going to make things harder for you when you veer off into a different path, because then your mindset will change to a negative mindset, because then all you're thinking is, oh, I'm not good at this, okay, I'm not doing it right, I can't do this, I keep doing bad at this. You're doing bad at it because that's not the position you should be at. That's not the path that should have been chosen. You chose to veer off the path that was helping you, that was making you win. You chose to veer off the path of a victor, and you made yourself a victim. So don't choose to rail off. Try to stay on the path that you know is helping you to be more successful. Here's a very solid truth about being accountable and responsible for one's life. Very few are. Very few are responsible for how they do things. A lot of people don't want to take responsibility for their life, so they don't grow. Don't be part of the few.
That's right.
Don't want to be part of the few. Exceed your own expectation and become the person that is accountable for you and what you do. Because when you take the responsibility to move on, to be accountable, you choose a life stance that helps you to become better and helps you to better others. And when you help to better others, it furthers to make you better also. Anna Russell says in an old song comic thing or whatever, I don't really know what this is, but she mentions that she went to a psychiatrist to be psychoanalyzed to find out why I killed the cat and blackened my wife's eyes. He put me on a downy couch to see what he could find, and this is what he dredged up from the subconscious mind. When I was 1, my mommy hid my dolly in the trunk, so it follows naturally that I am always drunk. When I was 2, I saw my father kiss the maid one day, and that is why I suffer now kleptomania. When I was 3, I suffered from ambivalence toward my brothers, so it follows naturally I poisoned all my lovers. I'm so glad I have learned the lesson and is taught that everything I did that's wrong is someone else's fault.
Sounds like the current government.
It is not someone else's fault that you're growing or that you're not growing. It is you. It's your decision. It's your life. And how you choose to make a difference in you is what should matter. Don't blame others for what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter how you grew up. It doesn't matter what's going on. It doesn't matter how people have treated you. Or if you had a bad family, if something happened, if you had bad friends, bad school experience, bad work environment. It does not matter. You cannot blame others for your own downfall. It is not someone else's fault that you decided to veer off and to be stupid. It is your fault. You need to take the responsibility and the accountability to realize that you, as a person, need to make the decision to grow, make the decision to learn from your experience. So, yes. Don't blame something in genes. Even if your family has a certain gene, don't blame your family. If your dad was a drunkard, your mom was a drunkard, your grandpa was a drunkard, your great-grandpa was a drunkard, who cares? You don't have to be a drunkard. Make the choice to move on from that. That is not your lifestyle. Their lifestyle is not your lifestyle. Your friend's lifestyle is not your lifestyle. Your family's lifestyle is not your lifestyle. But make God your lifestyle. Make Jesus your lifestyle. When you choose to walk in God and you choose to veer in a path that is also good for you, you choose a better lifestyle, a positive life stance. So, how do we apply these in our life? Well, based on your life, with these statements, if you guys have a pen, try to describe how you respond to these pains. What best describes the response to this pain? So, I do anything and everything possible to avoid pain at all. Do you? Yes or no? I know pain is inevitable, but I try to ignore it or just block it. Yes or no? Do you choose to block it out of your life? Do you choose to ignore it? I know everyone endures pain, so I just endure it when it comes. No. If you put yes on this, I definitely suggest you need to change that. Because just because everyone else deals with it, or you endure it just because when it comes, that's ridiculous. You need to be understanding that you need to move on and be ready no matter what. No matter what comes, be ready. Don't just deal with it when it comes. Make sure that you're ready to deal with it before it comes. I don't like pain, but I try to remain positive despite it. Yes or no? Do you try to remain positive even when you're going through things? I process the emotion of painful experiences quickly and try to find a lesson in them. Do you do that? Could you respond yes to that? I process pain, find the lesson, and make changes proactively as a result. Do you do that? Out of all those, regardless of what you say, no matter your answer, it does not bother me. It's not going to affect me. The only thing it should do is affect how you're going to think about it, your outcome. If you answer no on some of the questions that are certain things that you know pain is inevitable or you try to block it out, if you answer yes on some of the things that where you try to block things out of your life, whatever it is, pain experiences, whatever, make sure you learn from it. Think about it. Think about your answer. Because you want to be able to proactively make a difference, right? In your own life. Yeah. So, life is made up of choices, and what choices have you made that worked out the first time? What was it about the choice that made the difference? How can a bad experience make a situation even worse? And what can you do to make a bad experiences a positive in your life? Are you a victim or a victor? What action steps have you taken to demonstrate that? So, John has used this in his life, and he has encountered painful experiences. So, to discuss a process, you want to be able to do this. A, define the problem. B, understand the emotion you're going through. C, articulate the lesson. D, identify a desired change. E, brainstorm numerous paths so that you can figure out what works for you. Does not mean veer off into that path randomly. Think about it. Don't just randomly do whatever to see if it works. You want to make sure you brainstorm the idea of what path seems to have the better likelihood to help you grow. F, receive others' input. See what others have to say when you're trying to encounter certain experiences and how to deal with them. And G, implement a course of action. You have to remember that personal change requires action. So decide now to take action, attitude, and altitude when the next painful experience arrives. So no matter the experience, make sure you take the right action. You take the time to process. You take the time to think. You decide, make a plan and a purpose to deal with whatever experience is going on, whatever painful experience is going on. Deal with it. Quit making excuses. You'll get through it, but you need to be positive when you're getting through it instead of being negative, or it's going to make it worse. So, be ready for chapter 9, the law of the ladder. Yep.
I want to encourage everybody, if you don't have this book, the Winning with People, he has some things that connect to some of these chapters, and they have a thing in here called he calls it the principle of pain, just like he does the law of pain. It's a little different. It comes from a different angle, and because he's dealing with it in relationship, when you're having relationship things with people, it's called Winning with People. Amen. So there's also a chapter in here called the law of pain. I really encourage you. I know Casey has a copy of this, but I really encourage you, if you don't have this book, get it. We need all the relational skills we can get. Amen. Mm-hmm. Hallelujah. Amen.
Are there any questions?
I have a comment
Mm-hmm.
about the burden statute. And I've been a statue all my life. Sometimes, you have to be able to get out from under the bird shit.
Yeah.
And in doing so, you have to process pain sometimes. Okay, because there's a time and season for the pain and the learning ability. If you just simply think you can handle it all the time, and that's part of ignoring it or setting it aside. And you have to live through that to a certain, give yourself some time to process it, and then you can learn. But if you don't process it, I guarantee it will always come back to bite you.
Yeah. If you never learn from the experience, you're never going to grow. Never going to be different.
Get the power washer off and power wash that crap off the statue.
Mm-hmm.
By the power of the word, because the word never fails.
Amen. Did everyone like that chapter? Yes, that was good. Awesome. Any questions at all before I just stop? Okay. Sweet.
Alrighty then.
At the end of my computer, I took notes. I put after I basically like quoted it so that like I could know where I was going. I put finish with the interactive coaching thing and the overall point, and then I put boom, lesson taught.
the song on piano. You are my. I guess so. Huh? Isn't that pretty? It took me so long to get that, Sharon. It took me like 2 weeks because I really like this song. It's called. It goes. You are my ecosystem. You are the air I breathe in. You are the endless wasteland. You are my rushing fountain. You are my. I can play it, but I can't sing it and play it at the same time. It's too hard right now. But I can finally play that one. I like how it goes because I like this part of it. Huh? Shifting? I just was given a piano. Like a standing, like a real one, I guess. Yeah, it's like a like a cabinet or something. You know what I mean? Sister, I want a baby piano. Oh really?
I have one of those in storage right now. It was in my great-grandfather's church.
Oh wow.
Hannibal.
Oh yeah.
Hannibal.
Missouri. Yeah.
Tom Sawyer. Remember the Tom Sawyer series.
Oh, for real.
Who talked about the hell and brimstone nature.
Yeah.
That was my great-grandfather.
That's cool.
And I have his piano that was in his church.
That's wild.
Sitting in storage, getting it hung out.
You gonna put it in the house?
Oh yeah. We gotta get it tuned. We gotta get ready.
Yeah.
I lost the stool.
My friend, Bob's wife. Bob's wife, they had like a $10,000 piano. I don't even know. It was like that. this one. It's like made out of cherry wood or something like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, like a 66 keyword. Oh, that's cool. I bought this. I thought it was a keyboard, but then with like a pad on it. But I found out it was much more than that. It's like a whole machine. It's crazy. Has to be like hooked up to a computer and all kinds of craziness. Oh yeah, yeah. I want to start learning these keys more. Like the sharps or whatever they are. Or is it? What's that? Well, I can do it like these three. That's it. It's just from playing drums. What'd you find out?